so good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Let's go!
Kylie Kelce Day.
First of all, you're framed perfectly because in the background you got a sign that says something and find out, and I relate to you, so I'm just saying that I kind of love that about it. Kylie, why is your podcast exploding the way it is right now?
That's a great question. I still haven't figured that out. I think that people like the raw version of me that they get. When we decided to name it Not Gonna Lie, it is truly because I really don't possess the capability of lying. I've been extremely blunt my entire life, and that's really all I have to offer. So it's landing better than anyone could have thought. And I'm just really excited that I get to have conversations with incredible people, learn alongside with my listeners and viewers, and ultimately bring the conversations up that I think are important to have. Women's sports, motherhood, infertility, postpartum, all of the things that we have had the pleasure of speaking about and the honor of speaking about. It's exciting that it's landing so well.
All right, so Kylie, I'm not gonna lie. I speak the same language you do, very blunt, but I think that's the language of sports. Like if anybody's played sports and you have a short amount of time that you have to get a message through to your team,
Yes.
I'm not too concerned about how I'm going to deliver that message because I know you need to hear what I got to say.
Yes.
How has that been in the real world? I was going to ask you something different, but then you said this. But how has that been in the real world? Because my wife always has to correct me and tell me, like, listen, that's not how normal people talk. They might think that's rude. So have you had to, like, you know what they say, like, switch it up for the real world from our blunt language?
A little bit. It's funny. I mean, you saying that hits home 100%. You are in your huddle with your team. You got to get your point across, or you're running past each other on the field. You got to get your point across quickly. Short, sweet, and to the point sometimes is the only thing you have time for. So, in the real world, I have learned to remove some of my expletives because not everyone thinks that it just emphasizes your point. Some people think that you're trying to be offensive, and that's usually not my intention. But that really has been the thing that I've dialed back a little bit.
But it is sometimes. So I'm going to harp on that, but it is sometimes because sometimes we all kind of mask our words. We have to kind of think about it. I'm older. I've already made enough mistakes with that. But I will say that I think there's a huge difference between coasts on that. Like, I mean, I'm from Boston. I come in through the front door all the time. Yes. And I've had to think about that later in life. And especially with what we do and talking to athletes and interviewing for a living and trying to have these conversations, it can be really hard to do that in the moment. That's a good life lesson. And I think that's something, you're right, Renee, that comes through with sports.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm still working on it because I think that blunt is the best thing I could do. You know exactly what I'm thinking, exactly what I'm feeling. So I feel like I'm doing you a service. But Kylie, I wanted to know, like, so you played sports, Jason played sports. I grew up in a sports family. For people that may not understand what growing up in a sports family means, like, for instance, LeBron James, his sons don't know anything other than games on NBA Christmas Day games. Like, that's the only Christmas that they know there's a game. Can you kind of explain to people, oh, there y'all go, look, really cute. So can you explain to people, like, what are things that sports families do that maybe regular families might not know is a reality?
I will say, in terms of growing up in a sports family, my sister and I were playing field hockey. She was a goalie. But we were playing travel hockey around the same time, club hockey. And I will say, I thought that everyone else's family vacations were also traveling to tournaments, but that's not the case. That was our family travel.
Yep.
Growing up, the furthest I ever went, besides really the East Coast and one trip to Florida for Disney World, was California, and that was to play in outdoor national festival. So there really was we weren't going on family vacations traditionally, except for the Jersey Shore, which is an hour and a half away. So
let's go.
Exactly.
Same life.
Plug it in there. But that's one thing that I think is a major difference. The other thing is we were able to apply our sports to life, our mindset in being an athlete to life. So I really saw the value, especially in my college career, of how being on a team, learning to work with others, even if you weren't going to be best friends, you were teammates, you had to love and respect each other. I tell my girls now that I still coach high school hockey, I tell my girls now, you're a family. You don't have to like each other, but you do have to respect each other. And that follows straight into the professional world. And you graduating from college maybe and getting a job, or graduating from high school and moving into a professional setting, you're always going to be working as a team in some capacity. And that is something that I absolutely didn't realize in the moment of growing up in a sports family that was pushed, that has benefited me through and through.
I love that. And I love the motherhood aspect of you and your career. And I, as a mother myself, I feel like I have a lot of summer vacations that will be at the baseball field in my future. My son is 5. It's like his whole life. At 18 months, he took his first steps to pick up a golf club. Like that has been his whole life. And I'm just curious what sports you think your daughters might play, or what sports you see them maybe taking an interest in already.
It's funny, before I had kids, I was convinced that I would have them on the sideline of a field hockey field enough that I would convince them, like, this is the sport for you. And it's so crazy to see, we have a 5-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and an 8-week-old. It's crazy, even as young as they are, to see how different their personalities are, how different they move their bodies, how their brains work. And so I think that they're all destined potentially for different sports, which is going to be an interesting carpool situation for mom and dad, right?
You don't get to choose. You don't get to choose.
No, never. But I do hope I have at least one field hockey player. I will say, I think I have a good friend of mine. For a while, I was like, gosh, I hope you're not in competition cheer, because that would be so far outside of my realm of comfort that I wouldn't even know what to do. But I have a very good friend who did competition cheer for quite some time. And so I've told her a number of times she will have to tag in on that one.
Kylie, send the hoopers to me. All right,
Perfect.
Send the hoopers my way.
Well,
I will say our nanny played basketball in college, and then for a short time coached at the college that she graduated from. So
nice.
we're already working in the direction of hoping their hype can work for them.
I tried to get my daughter Taylor to ride horses like I did, and I had her on a horse, and now all she does is hoop. So believe me, I am in a gym all the time, and I'm here for it. But we talk a lot about positivity, and I love what you did with Sports Illustrated, working with them and with Dove to teach young girls about body positivity, because so much of what I love about team sports is what you're saying, to work together as a team. And I'm curious about the messaging, because it is Mental Health Month still. We're talking about sending these girls into the world with this strong sense of confidence. What did you get from your experience playing field hockey and coaching these girls that you can put forward into the world today?
Yeah, so ultimately, I grew up significantly taller than most of my classmates. I didn't notice until there were class photos or I saw a reflection in a window. I was like, oh gosh, this vantage point is different apparently. But of course then went for field hockey, which is in the opposite direction. My dad tried to get me into basketball. He cemented the hoop in the backyard and everything. As far as I went was horse. So I was not venturing any deeper than that. But ultimately, field hockey gave me an appreciation for my body. And I think that when you can see the strengths that you've been given, and then things that you can work towards, all of that comes together to help you stand a little taller, roll your shoulders back, own your height. there are certain things that we are just given in life, right? I didn't ask to be 5'11", but my reach in field hockey defensively was an absolute asset. I had thick thighs and a big butt, and they gave me some of the strongest hits out of the field. So, I mean, you're not getting strength in a hockey hit through just your arms. So it really, through and through, physically gave me an appreciation for my body. And I do think that is a big reason why a lot of girls back out of sports. We now, in today's day, have these incredible women who are clearly in the public eye. Alona Mar is a great example. She is the epitome of strength, and she leans into the fact that she is muscular and strong and how that is an asset to her. I mean, she's an Olympic rugby player. She medaled in an Olympics. Like, that is such an accomplishment. And on top of that, she wears her lipstick out onto the field and is standing proud in Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. Through and through, she is the epitome of how you can appreciate your strength, your body, what it can do for you, and specifically what it can do in sports. So I'm really excited for the direction that we're headed, and I'm happy to be even the tiniest part of the conversation.
You make me so excited when you talk about it like that. And I think about you saying that you grew up significantly taller than everyone else. I grew up significantly shorter than everyone else around me, but we both grew up in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, and we both went to the same Shore Point, Sea Isle City, New Jersey. You went to Cabrini. My dad went to Cabrini. I feel like I have so many questions for you, but the first one, most important one, is why do you think God blessed Philadelphia as the greatest city?
Oh my God.
I mean, where do we start? Right?
That's what let me list the ways. Okay. No, I'm so grateful to be in a city like Philly because it's, such a passionate sports town. I grew up loving sports, both on and off the field. So I got to appreciate it as an athlete and then also appreciate it as a fan, which is one of the funnest ways to enjoy sports.
I do have a follow-up question about that because one of my favorite things is when you show up at your brother-in-law's games and you refuse to wear Chiefs gear, which I am like...
We love to see.
As someone who is very conscious of the jerseys they wear, I also want to know your stance on how you feel about jerseys from a team that is not playing being in the stadium. Like if the Eagles are playing the Vikings, if someone is wearing a Commanders jersey, are you like, what is happening here?
I think that you are trying to instigate something. I think that's what that is. You're trying to draw attention to yourself. I see you, and I'm not going to engage because you did that on purpose.
Yeah. You're a psychopath. I see you. You're a psychopath.
It's odd. Specifically, we were in Kansas City for an Eagles-Chiefs game, and of course, there's always at least one. I had to scoot past a gentleman at the end of my row who had a Cowboys hat on.
Oh, no.
Get out.
I don't think I can share the exact phrase I said to him, but yeah, I did engage that one time.
Okay. That one time.
Well, I want you to know that when you go to court, I will testify on your behalf.
Thank you so much.
You're so nice of you, Sarah. Can we see that photo one more time of Kylie and Jason at the Super Bowl, and Kylie is in her red shirt? I noticed, Kylie, during one of your ad reads on your podcast, you mentioned that you were wearing underneath this shirt a shirt that had wings on it. What kind of shirt were you wearing under that one?
So that was actually the year before. I was not wearing it under that, but I will say I didn't even go for red this year. I couldn't even bring myself to do that. Previously, I would do Cincinnati because the Bearcats are red. This year, I couldn't bring myself to do it, so I wore a black sweater. And so underneath, there may or may not have been an Eagles t-shirt.
You're a real one, though. I respect it. I respect it.
Through. Yes. So then, when you talk about wearing that Eagles shirt and obviously being married to Jason, who I feel like almost is part of the face of the Tush push. And he was lobbying for it, or at least answering some questions about the Tush push when it was voted on, and it was not banned. So what are your thoughts on that Tush push?
I'm so proud of him for being so passionate.
This is so great.
I mean, I love that he is still living through, especially a play that he was literally at the heart of, right? He was front and center. And it just cracks me up that it's such a controversy, honestly, that they're talking about trying to ban it. I do think that there is something to be said about the fact that not a single team has figured out a way to consistently defend against it. And it seems a little bitter. It seems petty that we're trying to ban it. It seems like maybe a few more teams should figure out how to defend consistently against it. And then we should determine whether or not it's a problem for the game. But
it's giving do better is what it sounded like. It's giving do better.
Right. Just because you can't defend it doesn't mean it should just go away. This is like the most sore loser thing I've ever heard in my life. So please figure out a way to defend it and figure out a way to pull it off yourself on offense.
No one else is executing it at the same level. So.
Yeah, just be better.
I also have your quarterback lift more. I don't know.
Exactly. Or squat more. I also think that the amount of time that grown men use the word tush should be examined. I feel like this week doing Rich's show, I have mentioned tush more times than I really want to, except for when you're wiping one. And, we have something in common, which is we're married to men who like a lot of attention and like to talk. And so my question is, how do you manage that? When you want to kill him because he's talking so much, like maybe Rich was before the show giving us a pep talk, and I'm like, dude, we're going over the assets. So how do you manage that when you have a thought in your head and Jason is talking? Like, I just want to know, like, maybe between you and me, like, how you handle that.
That's funny. I don't even know that I have a legitimate strategy for that.
We can talk about this.
We might need to compare notes. What's most effective? He specifically will get on such a train of thought that you can't stop the train.
Oh God, it's a nightmare.
And I love it because it's fascinating to me, because he is so passionate about the things that he talks about. And sometimes it is the most ridiculous or mundane thing where you're like, why did you put that much thought into that? But he goes, and I'm here for it. Every so often I'll be like, there's no way that we're still talking about this. But I know it comes from a place of passion, and it's fun to watch his wheels turn.
Okay, one last question. Two athletes dating each other. Is that a pro or is that a con? Like, she just I would think, as we spoke before, athletes, we speak a certain language. So I'm sure that you guys could speak that same language back and forth to each other fluidly. Are there things, but athletes also have routines and are set in our ways. Is this a pro or a con for athletes to be together?
It's funny. Like I said, still coach high school hockey. I use Jason and Travis, my brother-in-law, as an example of how you can be. So I say Jason is our analytical, and Travis is the turn your brain off and do it. It's more carefree. It's more fluid. It caters to that tight end position a little bit more than the analytical needs of a center. I would put myself, when I was playing, in the more Travis mindset where I would turn my brain off. If I had something really important to focus on, like a penalty shot or things like that, I would almost sing to myself in my head so that I couldn't think about the movements my body was about to do, because I knew it would just do it through muscle memory. So in that way, I think we're very complementary, and I've lucked out. I will also say I am on record. My husband is annoyingly good at almost everything he tries. And any competition, he will win come hell or high water. And because of that, getting married means that he has to pick me on his team.
Love that.
Strategically, we're winning.
I love that. As a family, you are winners. That's actually the long game you're playing. I see where your head's at.
Honestly,
you're
we're
winning.
all winners now that we got to talk to you. I've been waiting to do this for, I don't know, years. I'm such a huge fan of your podcast. It drops today. You're back on the mic. What can people expect? Can you just like pump it up a little bit? Because I know I'm excited for it.
We're just going to brush up on the past 8 weeks and see what we've missed out on. It's been quite some time. There've been a lot of doom scrolls on social media because I've been sitting in the quiet of the nursery and breastfeeding. So, normal mom things. And I'm excited to be back. I'm excited for the guests that we have lined up. We're going to mix it up a little bit more here, lean a little bit more into women's sports, I think, and just have a little bit more of an eclectic reach, because I think we've been really motherhood and pregnancy based for the duration of my pregnancy, but now she's out. So let's talk about some other stuff too.
Let's go.
I love it. Thank God
Invite
you're
to come
back.
back when you're ready to talk women's sports. Open invite to come back on this
Thank
show
you guys
whenever
so
you
much.
want, vice versa. Let's make it happen. And thanks for all the work you
Please.
do for autism as well with the Eagles. I wanted
Happy
to mention
to.
that before we go. Kylie Kelce, you're the greatest. Watch new episodes of Women's Sports Now every Thursday on Roku channel.